Okay, so for this tutorial we're going to look at unit ratios and scale factors. Okay, so for this slide here we're going to find the unit ratio of 34 to 19, and obviously we have to do it to two decimal places. The way we find unit ratio is dividing both sides in the ratio by the second number. So in this instance, 19 is our second number, okay? So we're going to divide both sides by 19. So if I do 19 divided by 19, that's obviously going to equal 1. And then on the other side, I'm going to divide the 34 by 19, which to two decimal points on the calculator gives me 179. And this 179 is what we call a scale factor, if you remember from the definitions, just as a reminder. Okay, so obviously for this question here, if we identify the key bits of information, the height of an elephant to a lion. So again, if we write out in words what it's actually asking, it's a bit easier. So we've got elephant, and then we've got the lion. Okay, now we'll have a look. So it says the height of an elephant to a lion is 3.07 to 1. Okay, and in this situation it's telling us if the height of the elephant is 4 meters, so again I'm going to put this under the side that tells us about the elephant. What is the height of the lion? So in this instance we don't know what it is just yet. So I've got to work out how do I get from 3.07 to 4. So if I do 4 divided by 3.7 on the calculator, and obviously because 4 is bigger, it means I actually have to times it to get to the bottom number. And if I do, yeah, as I said, 4 divided by 3.07, I get 1.3 as the answer. So again, I've got to do the same thing on this side, times by 1.3. And obviously if I do 1 times 1.3, it gives us 1.3. So this tells me that the lion's height equals 1.3 meters. Okay, so this question here has a little bit of information in it. It tells us the recipe for pancakes. There are 4 times as much flour as sugar and 1.6 times as much flour as milk. So there's a few different things for us to think about. So first of all, this question is asking us to compare sugar to flour. So I'd be writing that down. And from the information above, it tells us that for sugar, flour is 4 times the amount. So I can give that as 1 to 4. And what it's asking is if I have 3 cups of sugar, how much flour am I going to have? Well, obviously to get from 1 to 3, obviously it's bigger, so I've got to times by 3, which means I've got to do the same thing on the other side. So if I do 4 times 3, gives me an answer of 12. So for this question, it tells me that for flour for this pancakes mix, I'm going to need 12 amounts of sugar. Okay, so this is the last question that we have to do for unit ratios and scale factors, and this is asking us to compare how much flour to milk. So from the information above, it tells us that flour is 1.6 times the amount of milk. So it means I can start off with this one, 1.6 times by 1. Tells me here I have 2 cups of flour. Again, obviously the bottom number is bigger, so I have to times by. And if I do 2 divided by 1.6 on the calculator, I get 1.25. And obviously if I'm going to do 1 times 1.25, it's going to tell me that I need 1.25 amounts of milk for this recipe. And that's the end of the tutorial.